June 8th, 2021. And first we'll have a call to order. Mary Brenner. Here. Brian Spitzenagel.
Here.
Jennifer Allen.
Here.
Myself, Gloria Trelaski. And we have a guest tonight, Denny Harkeye. We have Pledge of Allegiance. I didn't know we do Pledge of Allegiance.
We don't, but
do
they
it
put it on there. So that's your call. I'll be
Well, we're
glad
going to do
if
it
you-
again later. Okay, roll call I did, call to order. Okay, old business, we have none, and the new business is recreation and community life discussion. I don't remember if it was last meeting or the meeting before when Rob and Natalie were here. Was that last week or the? And well, we discussed the basketball court and the tennis court. And I think everyone received some information from Rob. There were some quotes from the Cernus construction for the tennis courts and for basketball, coming to a total of approximately $34,000. This is just for the asphalt, and not for all the other amenities that would go, you know, with the backboards and the striping and all the other things. And there's only one quote on this. I think when we discussed this last time with Rob here and that, we kind of figured the best way to handle it would be just to take everything down and the service department would do this and take out the court itself and just turn it into green space. And then we can always down the road decide what we want to do with it when our funding is better for different things. This way it's only just grass, and we can do whatever we want to build whatever, or just leave it that way. This is only one quote, and we could get other quotes, but at this point in time, I think the funding the way it is and the way everything's going, even with the Ford plant, we can't get an answer, you know, and the roads are, you know, deplorable too. So as far as the safety goes, I think putting our money into the roads is more justified than fixing the tennis court and basketball court. I'd like to see this year how many people really will ask, why did we do this? Well, I want to play basketball. Did we get 5 people or 50 people, you know, that want this type of recreation? So my recommendation would be, as Rob has stated, the service department would do the work to take out all the, the ground work there, level it, and put make it a green space. The backboards and that they're not in the greatest shape either. So I don't know how the rest of you feel about that.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Well, I'm pleasantly pleased that this Rob did get a estimate here from one of the construction companies, and the basketball court to redo that is $10,970. Let's say $11,000. Now our prior bid was for $20,000, but that was for takeout. Our people are going to take it out, so that's probably the cost of that right there.
Mm-hmm.
I did rewrite the Cleveland Cavaliers grant. You can submit to them every 2 years, and this is the second year.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want, I did rewrite them. I have 2 versions, and I can see for either version using this new estimate here, or quote, I should say. One version, which would just be for asphalt, would be asphalt and the basketball hoops, which are close to $5,000. So this would be $16,000 just for contingencies and stuff. If we put in a grant for, let's say, $17,000 just for asphalt and hoops, that would take it from the least amount that we're asking for on this original one is $30,000. So we can take that down to $17,000. And the original letter that I wrote was for not only asphalt, but for a VersaCourt overlay, which is, it's a professionally designed, built. You can have any type of graphics put on there you want. It's tiles, and you make the base, and they're all weather. They're meant to be outside, and they're laid down in our service department. Of course, the company will come out and install it, but if we wanted to save the installation price, they would, the service department could do that. The high price for that is $17,000. So the original $17,000 for the VersaCourt.
On top of?
On top.
Okay.
Yeah, on top of the asphalt. So if we've got $11,000 for the asphalt and $17,000 plus the $5,000 for the hoops, we're talking $28,000, $32,000 for the other version. The reason why I wrote two versions of this was because the Cleveland Cavaliers last time they said no to us. And as I'm sitting there thinking, maybe we, I know you don't get if you don't ask, but maybe we asked for too much. Maybe they'd be more sympathetic or empathetic at just doing the asphalt for $17,000, the asphalt and the hoops, as opposed to $32,000. I don't know. And that was one of the things I wanted to bring to the committee tonight, to make a recommendation to all of council that we at least send one of these versions in, and which version would we recommend to send in. That would be a question for tonight. But that's what I came up with, and I'm glad that since our service department is going to take out that asphalt, that cuts out a big chunk of money that we would be asking for. I've also started looking into national parks, National Recreation and Park Association grants. I was looking at that. In doing the research into that, at first it appears that there would be, but I don't believe we fit the bill for that right now, but I'm still going to look into that. The National Park Service has grants. I'm going to look into that. The Ohio Department of Natural Resources, Nature Works grant, and we missed the deadline, it was June 1st. But they have grants for outdoor sports recreation. So that would be something I would be very willing to put in, along with a bunch of other types of grants for next year, which would be June 1st, and then they come out with the grant award sometime in the fall. But that wouldn't be until next year. There's Walmart, believe it or not, gives grants, community grants. Target all those. So I'll look into all those and see what we can do. But as far as what's pressing, I did look at I was up there last night and I did look at the court. And I looked at both the courts, the tennis court. And speaking of the tennis, there is the U.S. Tennis Association does have information and grant funding also. So I'll look into that more. And those, they do provide consultants and anything from complete redos or installations to resurfacing or crack sealing, things like that. And so maybe there's a grant we can get for money for that. But as far as the pressing issue tonight, I think it would be my opinion to recommend to the rest of council, as we did last week, for safety reasons for the village. It's got to be taken out anyways, no matter what we do. There's no resurfacing of that. It's just got to be taken out. And if we were going to do it tomorrow, that's what would happen. It would be taken out and all new asphalt put in there. That's what I would recommend, that we take it out for safety issues, concerns. I have not had one person, not that I'm the go-to person in Walton Hills, but I have not had one person come up to me and complain about the state of the basketball court, that they want a new basketball court to play in. So I don't think it's pressing for the village right now. And I think if we spent $32,000 of our money, the village coffers, and not at least put that money towards part of a road, or I think there'd be a lot of complaints, more complaints on that. So that's where I am right now. As far as the tennis courts, they are fenced in. I did look at those last night, and I wouldn't play tennis on it for fear of twisting my ankle. It is a playable court, and that's just from a novice. However, I wouldn't play on it. But it's not in as bad a shape as I thought it was. And I think the saving grace around there is there's a fence around it, with a lock. So I don't know what the rec department wants to do with that. As far as letting people play on it, of course, it's all at your own risk. But I think I agree with you as far as, unfortunately, getting rid of that whole thing. I also think it's an eyesore. I really do. If we're not going to fix it, get rid of it until we can afford something that looks nice. I don't think anything like that belongs in Walton Hills. I really don't.
No.
So that's my thing. And then the only other thing is, if we would like to make a recommendation on one of these two proposals to the rest of the council tonight. So that's all I have.
Madam Chair, I would also like to add my opinion, and I concur with Mr. Spitznagel. It needs to be removed. We know it's an attractive nuisance and someone's going to get hurt. Last thing we need is a lawsuit, so it needs to be removed. And I think we should apply for the grants, see where we go, turn it back into green space until we can get some funding together in the capacity of a grant or something, because our money needs to be spent on the roads, I think, right at this point. Doesn't mean that it can't be a basketball court again down the road or something along those lines, but that needs to be removed. Personally, I think we should try for the lower amount, just because I think we might have more success with that grant with the Cavs, because as you said, maybe we overextended ourselves. And we can see what we can do. I mean, if Cerna says they only want $10,000 to put one in after we removed it, we might be able to do something like that then. But that's where I stand now on this.
Jennifer?
Yes, Madam Chair. It was brought to our attention that it's a hazard. It was brought to our attention that it's a potential liability. I agree that it should be ripped out. Rob is more than willing to, the guys are more than capable of. It's going to cost us minimal in hourly wages compared to what it costs with other estimates. And even if we had, if we weren't, we're just so stuck right now financially. I mean, we've got $63,000 that we're looking at is going to cost us, again, we talked about last week, for the road preventative maintenance program. And that's with half of it being paid by the county. And that's only Dunham, Egbert, and Sagamore. And that's just preventative maintenance. You know, as you said, the roads are terrible. People are always complaining about it. I thought we came up with a good solution, moving the temporary hoop to the end of the drive where it would be blocked. Parkers would still be able to use it while they're there. And I think that we should apply for the grants, any that we can. And I would agree with Mary too, that the lower cost, that maybe that was it, you know, you ask for something that, you know, at least we can see, you know, even if we end up getting half of that covered, it would be a beginning.
Right.
You know, but we can't go in without the funding. To me, it just wouldn't be fiscally responsible for us to do, not at this time. Like, we've got employees that need raises that haven't had. You know, that's not a basketball court or, you know, a raise for our employees. So I agree with everybody right now to keep it as a green space, keep working on it, and hopefully we can come up to a solution.
Mm-hmm.
I think if we started anything also, I don't know that it would be done before the end of summer. You know, with scheduling and stuff. I mean, these guys, you know, that do any of the surfacing and stuff, they're backed up how far?
Mm-hmm.
And they're really pushing on Dunham Road so they can move on to their next job. You know, so I don't know what the feasibility would, if we had unlimited funds to even get it done this year.
Mm-hmm.
So that's,
Thank you. Yes, I agree. I think you have many good resources there for the grants, several of them, you know. If one of them comes through, it would be great, you know. But I think like they'll try the lower one, and that may be the issue with that. But Rob is ready, willing, and able to do the work to take it out. And I think we should do that. And in the meantime, block the fence, and put up just closed, and don't say safety or whatever the issue is, it's just closed. We don't want someone just going to sue us because they hear the word safety, that we know it's a risk. And then, you know, who knows what next year will bring, you know. And I think it's a prudent thing to do at this point in time before someone does get hurt or whatever. The kids have been cooped up for a long time, so now when they get out, they'll be, you know, running around up there. So, yeah. So that would be my recommendation to council, if everyone agrees, the lower amount.
Okay.
And let
I
Rob
agree.
and his men, when they have the, you know, lock it up now, and when they have the time, put it on their schedule, and just make a green space for now. And we'll see what we can get with the grants or whatever. So I appreciate you researching that, Brian.
Oh, no problem, yes.
That's good. Okay, I guess we're all in agreement on that. The other part of the recreation is the community life. And right now, I believe it's 55% of our population here is seniors. Is it up to 55 now? It could be more.
It was, my data for the record still showed 35, I
Yeah.
think, 32.5%. That was, let me see what year that was. It was the latest data. Five. Yeah, it doesn't say. It was, so it was probably a year or two old.
Yeah.
So
It's up there.
55% of the population is how old?
What, in Walton Hills, of the seniors, that
Okay.
out of the, that's the latest I've heard was 55.
I'm sorry, Brian, you said what you had was 32%?
32.5%, seniors aged 65 and older. This was from statisticatlas.com. statisticalatlas.com.
I thought it was much higher. I thought I had seen demographics where our senior population is even higher than the 50%.
Even higher than 55?
Yes.
Well, we've had quite a few deaths, unfortunately, and there are, as evidence with the new phone book, quite a bit of new families in the village.
So I don't remember where I saw it. That's why
I remember that Beechwood was the only community that was higher than ours with the senior population. So, I don't remember either where, if it was the census or whatever that information came from, but, so that's a big part of our population. And, so, you know, what are we doing for this? Might as well say that it is majority of who lives here, just about. And I think we do a good job. People that I know that don't live here, and I'll tell them, well, we do this, this, and this, and they can't believe it. You mean you take people to the doctor? You wait with them, you know? So it's, I think we have a good program. In the journal, Natalie had printed in the June journal what all the fees were in it for everyone and that. I think it's a great thing for the seniors, even the ones that have children that don't live with them, but they have to take off work to take them. And I know my father was ill when he was alive, and my mom had to take him. He had leukemia down the Cleveland Clinic. And she took him a few times, and they basically came to her and said, you're not going to have a job if you continue to do this. So, you know, this is a great, I think, asset that we have to be able to transport our seniors, not only to the doctors, but for food and the banking and things like that. I think it's been a tough year for Natalie because with the COVID to come up with things, and I think, you know, with the lunches, that they could drive up and it was put in the trunk of their car and everything. You know, and now now you can come in. It's the first time they're going to try it, to have the lunch here, or you can pick it up if it's your choice. Or then if you're housebound, they will actually deliver it to you. So I think that's a great thing. They're looking at bus trips. I know a lot of people like to go on the bus trips. They were always full. And they said, you know, later this summer, you know, we still have these COVID rules going back and forth. It's the first time I was in a restaurant and no one had a mask on. And that was different, you know. They're going to be working at Young Park now, you know, preparing it for the summer programs and everything. It is a beautiful facility up there, and to have the basketball courts and that in such condition, you know, it just doesn't look right. It's like having a cake with no frosting, you know. But idea to bring seniors to the community event center to socialize. This is something that they want to start doing, maybe having bingo or play some type of cards and have some coffee and just hang out and socialize. And I think that's kind of a good idea too. I think it's feasible that they could do it. And it is a beautiful facility. And I think it's very cozy. It has the books there for the library and everything. I think that's a good thing to look forward to for them, and to keep expanding on those things.
And Madam Chair,
Yes.
I don't know if you brought it up. You probably were the one that brought it up with the coffee and beverages in the morning and things like that. Walton Hills currently does not have a coffee shop, a place to gather, you know, for people. And that's a great facility for people to go to in the morning, look forward to talking to their friends and everything, and sitting down and having a donut and a cup of coffee or whatever it is, or they do. I think that's a great idea, and I think they should implement that.
They, I believe it's Panera gives them like day old, not even day old, at the end of the day, they give it to the Walton Hills. And so they, like you said, they do have a donut and a cup of coffee, and I think that's nice. And they can, you know, talk back and forth what's going on in the village, and instead of going up to McDonald's because the coffee is cheaper for seniors or something, I think it's good. It's very good for morale and depression and everything to be with other people, especially with all this COVID thing, to be able to be with people again. Some of the elderly don't see anybody. I'm on the board for Meals on Wheels, and that's the only people they see, the ones that comes in and drops off the meals for them. So, yeah, I think that's, you know, let's utilize that center for ourselves too, not just for banquets and things like that. And, I think they're working on it and trying to find the best way to come up to keep the people together and interested, and I think it'll work. And I think that people will be grateful to have a place to come and socialize. Anybody else have any other comments?
Madam Chairman?
Yes.
I think we do a lot for our seniors, and I think that's great. Something I would like to see is a little bit more, especially I know with COVID, we don't have as many family events, but we are getting more younger families in the village. And something that we were talking about Citizens League trying to do for a fundraiser, I think it would be a lot easier though for the village, was if maybe the village could have once a month on a Friday or a Saturday night, a date night, movie night. Mom and Dad could drop the kids off, play a video for the kids, you know, they would be registered to come. Mom and Dad would get a couple of hours by themselves, something like that. And I don't know what else we could do even for the 20-somethings and the couples that don't have kids, but we need to try to engage them somehow too. But I thought the movie night, date night would be a nice thing to possibly start.
Mm-hmm. I know they've had like a concert up there, you know, and I guess it went very well, you know, like parties in the park, but it's, you know, I don't see any reason why we can't do something like that, have a band, you know, and even, you know, like the kids could come too, and they could be running around doing their thing, and the parents could be there listening to the music too and stuff. It's something to look forward to, like once a month, like you said, a different thing, you know. Do we have something for, do we have a screen up there that we can use for video, or do we have
At the event center we do.
Right.
Oh, the event center.
Yeah,
okay.
the event center we do,
Yeah.
you know, for inclement weather, you know,
Yeah.
obviously and stuff. But,
Yeah.
along those lines, they could even, maybe they could do like a wine and cheese night, like a BYOB or something, you know, that we would be able to do.
Yeah, something for the adults.
For just adults.
Banter, a little dancing or whatever, and
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
Yeah.
for the socialization, I think that'd be great.
See if people are interested in some of these, you know, activities, and see if, you know, people want to get out. And I know just starting to get out and to see people, it's just wonderful, you know.
Oh, yeah.
The wine and cheese night is always a huge thing at the lake.
Oh, yeah,
You know.
yeah, that's a great idea, yeah.
You know, something like that would be
Something like
more for, like I said, it could be just mom and dad, but for couples that maybe don't necessarily have kids too, somehow to kind of engage
Yeah, I
them.
know. There's lots of options, yes.
Mm-hmm. We have the facilities for that, indoor and outdoor, to do those kind of things. Maybe we should put something in the journal, just asking, what would you like to see? What would you like to do? Would you like to hear, you know, suggestions?
Right.
Maybe we haven't thought of anything that would really be interesting to people. Hi, Ray.
Hooray.
So, yeah, we can maybe do something like that. And,
Yeah,
when
I
the
think that
interests
with
are-
that facility should be used every single day for something.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yep.
They used to have like do crafts a lot, you know,
Mhm.
things like that too, you know. So, you know, it seems every month there's some kind of holiday that we could play on that, Valentine's Day, or have a dance, maybe, you know, different things, Halloween, you know, of course we have the thing for that, but to kind of game night.
Mhm.
I'll talk to Natalie and see if, you know, she has any ideas on this, and I know people are coming for the coffee and that, to see how many actually are showing up, you know. How many men, how many women, you know, that usually get the one guy and 10 women. But, yeah. Okay. Anybody else have any?
Madam Chair, I'll mention this during the COW meeting tonight also, but this does have to do with community life and that. The Village of Oakwood, for our ambulance billing, they soft bill, it's called, which means they take whatever your insurance company pays, and we do not get a bill. However, the letter that was going out to our residents who utilize the ambulance didn't make that clear. It specified Oakwood residents only.
Oh, geez.
So I talked to the chief and the mayor through email, and Oakwood did change their letter to include all 3 communities that they do. So in the letter now, it's clear that if you are a resident of Walton Hills, you still have to put your insurance information down there so they can bill your insurance, but you will not get a bill. So, and I did speak to the chief. My concern was, and I'm sure it was an oversight on, you know, when Oakwood started doing this for other communities. But, and there's a third-party billing service that bills. So I just want to make sure that no Walton Hills resident in the past has sent that in and through an error got a bill and paid it because, well, I got a medical bill, so I need to pay it. The chief said that did not happen, but I just want to put it out there that if anybody, if that did happen to any of our residents, they are owed a refund. But so I just wanted to get that out, that Oakwood is changing their letter.
Council, there was a comment that came in. People like the event where the kids were dropped off, so parents could go Christmas shopping during the kids' Christmas break, as well as a Mother's Day tea was enjoyed for mothers and children. And that was by Catherine Spitznagel.
Oh, okay, yeah. Very good.
Yeah, they even had, you know, some things where the kids could come and they'd wrap the presents for their parents, help them
Right.
wrap. Yeah, and it just, your mind could just wander with different things that you could do. Yeah. But that's true with Oakwood, because I know myself, I was involved in an accident, and it was in Oakwood, and I was transported to the hospital, and I did not receive a bill because they service us, so.
Right.
Yeah, so it's just a good thing, you know.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot that goes on with community life, with the seniors, and then just to be able to call the spouse has fallen out of bed or something, you know, that they, you know, put them right, you know, put them back in bed. And the guys are the nicest. They'll say, we don't care if you call us 12 times, we'll put you back in bed, you know,
Right.
and stuff. So it's a good service, and to have it right here, you know, outside our door is great, you know. So, yeah, I think we have a lot for our seniors and just any age resident of the community. We offer a lot to our residents. For a small community, we do a lot, I think. Anything else? Yeah. So maybe I'll have, ask Natalie if she could write something up for, maybe she has some ideas and put them in the journal and see how the people react to them. Things that she could handle and do there at the event center. I know she has a lot of experience from other jobs that she's had. And just calling around other communities, things that they do. And like, we had the book club there in the evenings and that's always been a big thing too. So we may be small, but we're mighty, and we can get bigger ideas from some other communities and put them into use here too. But I thank you for your efforts in looking into the grants and things like that. There's no such thing as a bad idea, just you can make it work somehow, shape or form. So I guess I will talk to Natalie and see if there's something she can put out there in the journal, what they're looking for, some things we're thinking about, and maybe some things that they're asking. I know they used to have knitwitters. They were at the other building. They used to knit and things like that. They make blankets for the servicemen and stuff too. So maybe some resident has some kind of, talent or hobby that they'd like to share. Like Mary said, planting flowers. The kids. If they're willing to work with the children, maybe there's, something there with that.
I know Mary mentioned a community garden too, but there's something what the kids can do that might be able to be done up at there may be some space up there at the community center to do that on the side. I don't know.
Yeah, it's big property
as
back
opposed
there.
to the park too. So I don't know. That's another option to look into. They want to do something like that to utilize that space.
There really isn't anything in the back because it's all trees.
It'd have to be in the front.
So it'd have to be either in the
Oh,
front or
okay,
on the
there's
side.
nothing on the side. I was
along
thinking
Notting
on the
Hill there
side,
is.
yeah.
Yeah, along Notting
For
Hill.
your front yard. You're right
Yeah.
there.
As long as you're gonna weed it too. Just plant it, let me take care of it.
I had visions of a pumpkin patch.
Yeah.
The kids watch it grow.
But I do think that facility should be used for something every single day. There should be something going on, whether it's just, people can go up there and socialize and sit and watch TV or whatever. It should be used. It should not be closed.
Yeah. I mean, even watching TV with someone and commenting on.
Exactly.
I used to belong to a group and it was called Bring Your Own Mug, and you brought your own cup, the mug, and somebody would bring something they read in the paper or a book or some question they saw in the newspaper, and there were, like 10, 12 people there, and the comments that went around, and it was a Saturday morning and a couple hours, and it was interesting.
Council, there was a question, was a decision made about the tennis courts, they were unable to hear what was said.
Courts?
The tennis
The tennis
courts.
courts.
That we were gonna just lock them for now?
Yes, we're going to lock them. And put it closed.
They are currently locked.
Yes, they should be, if they're not.
Yeah.
Yeah, Natalie thought they were, yeah.
Pardon me, they were not locked the other day, there were people playing in there.
They were locked yesterday. I was up there last
I was
night.
curious.
Yeah, and I heard that people were playing up there. At our last COW meeting, they said that a few people were playing up there. But since then,
They
yeah,
said there's no
it's-
net.
There's no net. no.
Yeah. know one time we had like hot dogs. They were free to residents, you know, so they had a campfire and they had, it's called 2 Men in a Campfire, and they're really good. And,
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
yeah, they had the village picked up the tab for the hot dogs through recreation and that, you know. But it was, yeah, it was a big hit, you know. So, yeah, we have to look into what other communities are doing too. And this COVID has knocked everybody out of the social gatherings, so you need to start anew again. Have a mask burning party. So. Okay. I think it was said that with the senior lunch that a lot of people were not taking advantage of it, but that changed and people were wanting to come in and sit down and have lunch. So that's a good sign. And for $7, it's a very hearty meal plus dessert, you know. June 14th, TGM will open up. So, just a few more days. Is the lake open now too?
Yes.
Yeah. So there's a lot going on, starting up finally, get back to a new normal. That's all I have. If anybody else has any other comments.
I don't have anything, Madam Chair.
Mr. Harkar would like to make a comment.
Do I do it from here or go up there?
You can go up there so there's a microphone.
Okay.
Yeah, so the residents can hear.
What's that?
So hopefully the residents can hear.
Okay.
Yeah, hopefully it's a little bit better than it was. Are you getting any reports from anybody that they can't hear the audio?
Just where you were talking about the tennis courts, I think someone pulled back from the microphone.
Okay.
Okay. First of all, thank you for the work that you put into trying to raise the money. Those are some very good and creative ideas. And I think if raising the money is going to be an issue, it's probably the least of the issues. One thing that I do want to comment, everyone is concerned about how the park looks. I showed this to Natalie the other day when she visited me down there. The batting cages are a real mess. There's weeds, there's debris laying everywhere, the nets laying on the ground. If they're not going to do anything with it, at least have it cleaned up. You know, I don't know what the plans are for the baseball program. Is anybody going to do anything with that?
I think they have people sign up.
They are renting them, yes.
I haven't seen anybody down there. And in the meantime, it could stand a good cleaning.
Okay.
If we're concerned about the way the village looks, that would be my respectful recommendation.
Sure. Yeah, thanks for that.
Also, Gloria, you hit on something that I thought was real important, and that is who's interested in these things. And there are ways that we can find out. I would say that before the village even looks into spending a penny on any of this, since what we're all trying to do is come up with something that is attractive and interesting to as many residents as possible. That's what this discussion seems to be about, and the park is only a part of it. I think there's creative ways to find out. First of all, this is only a suggestion, but we could put an article in the Owl, an article in the Journal, and say to the residents who, that's probably the best way to reach the whole crowd for a cost that's already being paid for. The Owl is free to the village, and the Journal's already got the expense involved, so to add a page to that, saying the council and the village are looking for things that are going to be appealing to as many people as possible. Here are some options. Make a check mark, yes or no. Would you like a basketball court? Would you like a tennis court? Would you like a volleyball court? Would you like a garden? What would you like if the suggestion is there? And give people, they can send it in by mail if they'd like to, but what a great way to find out, to get a poll where everybody's at on these ideas and see what they think. You know, maybe nobody cares about a basketball court, so why bother looking for grants? Maybe nobody cares about playing tennis. Maybe they'd rather have a volleyball court.
Right.
Or a garden. These are all good ideas, but what we want to do is come up with something that is going to be attractive, interesting, appealing, beneficial to as many people as possible. And another way to do that even more quickly, I know when I was in business, doing work with my shipyards, I had a database on every shipyard in the world that built mega yachts. And within that database was every contact at that shipyard. In an instant, I could push a button and communicate with all the principals in the shipyard. Same thing was true with system integrators and electronics companies. I'm going to guess that as council people, every one of you have constituents, if you want to call them that, email databases. I have a personal email database of my friends that are in the village. I can push a button and say hello to everybody. This would be a quick way to get some answers real fast if each council person wrote to their constituents with a survey saying, hey, let me know. I mean, you could have some of these answers by your next meeting as far as where people are going with this before you spend any time and effort going any further with all of this. As far as the money part goes, okay, for sure, we don't know exactly how much it's going to cost. We've got some different estimates about which way you want to take it. Let's say, for example, it's any figure at all. All right, maybe the village doesn't have 20,000 or 30, but maybe they have 5. And the village could say, well, all right, we're in for 5, if you want to put it that way. Then we start looking for creative ways to raise the funds. And there's people out there that would be very willing to be benefactors. One question I have, I don't know what the figure is, maybe somebody can tell me. How much do we give Bedford schools every year? Whether it's, in any event, whatever way they get the money. Somebody told me that it's as much as $8 billion out of tax bases goes into Bedford schools through Walton Hills in some way. Is that the correct figure?
It used to be because of Ford, but since Ford is no longer there and our house is no longer there, I'm sure it's millions of dollars less.
All right, so Bedford school system is getting millions of dollars through some method, whatever way they're getting it out of Walton Hills. Okay? And let's face it, the Bedford school system, that's our school system. Unless someone sends their kids to a private school or they're homeschooling, these kids are Bedford Bearcats. Well, maybe while we're looking at potential sources of money, we can see if Bedford's willing to go in for a little bit of this. And most people, when they go in for something, they like something in exchange. You know, other than the folks that just are glow with the spirit of giving, if you will. So maybe Bedford High School would be really motivated, or the school system would be really motivated when it comes time to do a basketball court, if the basketball backboard has the logo of the Bedford Bearcats on there in their colors, and it could look really cool, and it would show that we're supporting the school system by our efforts, and they're showing that they're supporting us by their efforts. Just an idea, another possible avenue for funds. There are people in this village who live here that are, let's say, successful business people. I know the Iapolo family lives in our village. I know that the Carr family lives in our village. And I know that these people are in the paving business. Perhaps one of them would be glad to be a benefactor, especially if there was a plaque somewhere that said, we gave them credit for it, you know, in terms of, you know, hey, thank you for your donation. I've seen things like that all over the place where there's plaques that give people recognition. And on top of that, in exchange, we could offer them, let's say, for example, Cerna. I don't know if he's a Bedford High School graduate. I do know that Blair Melling is a Bedford graduate, Bedford High School graduate. He went to high school with one of my friends. He was, I think he played football. He may have been a wrestler as well. Some of our people around here, personally, I'd be willing to contribute to it myself, by the way. If it comes down to where we're looking for funds, there's a lot of ways we can come up with money. But what about offering somebody in exchange for a donation? Let's say Carr Brothers is good for $5,000. Well, in exchange for them giving us $5,000, put a full-page ad in the Owl for 3 months in a row, thanking them for their kindness and for their courtesy. Do the same thing in the Journal. In other words, if we offer somebody something in return for what they give us, they're more likely to give us something. I really don't think that the big obstacle is going to be raising the money. If we put our minds to it, I think we can figure out how to do that. And I'm willing to help with those kind of things as well myself, with my own personal time. And I'm also willing to donate toward it. But there's no point in doing it if nobody's interested. So I don't know, what do you guys think about that idea?
Well, I think they're all, Madam Chair, sorry, I spoke without your, I think they're all good ideas, and they're certainly worthy of exploring.
Is anybody, all right, well,
So-
I guess there's not much more I can say about it other than that, but I mean, again, if nobody's interested, there's no point in it.
Right.
But if people are really interested in it, then we all get motivated to figure out a way to make it happen. I mean, we're talking about what to do with the community center, we're talking about what to do with the park. I mean, I say let's give it a try, let's see what we can accomplish, you know. I know that, what was I going to say? That's pretty much it. I mean, that's kind of where I'm coming from. I'm just looking to find a way that we can work collectively together to accomplish something positive. And if we can do that, then so much the better for us, the whole village, and everybody. Okay?
Thank you for your ideas.
Thank you, yeah.
Okay.
Madam Chair,
Yes,
it is after 7 p.m.
okay.
Yeah.
Council meeting. I don't know if anybody else had anything, but I know the clock's behind you, so you can't see that.
Yes. Does anybody else have anything else?
No.
Okay. And then, before we close, like I said, just during the next meeting, just mention what we've kind of discussed here and what our recommendation was, and we can go from there. And, you can proceed with the grants, looking into that. And I'll check with Natalie and see if she can come up with something. So when our next recreation report, there might be a survey in there with different things that, would you like to see this, and this, and see, what the likes are and wants are in the village too.
Very good.
Okay, so with that, do I have a motion to close the meeting of June 8th?
Madam Chair, I make a motion to close the meeting.
Second?